Hi, my name is John Reznikoff. I'm the owner of University Archives, and we buy and sell autographs, and I do a fair bit of authenticating as well. And today the subject is books, particularly signed books, and how to avoid buying signed books that are not authentic. The most important thing is that you should be buying from a very reputable dealer of long standing. I recommend the American Booksellers Association. They have a list of dealers, and if a dealer is a member of that organization, you could be pretty sure that he's honorable and will stand behind what he sells. The other thing you could do, especially with tricky autographs like John F. Kennedy, is use a third-party authenticator. The first books that we're going to look at are ones that are purportedly signed by John F. Kennedy. And here's a nice copy of The Strategy of Peace, and inside a nice long inscription, as well as a letter from Kennedy's secretary sending the book and saying that he signed it. But if you look carefully at the handwriting, it looks nothing like any authentic signed Kennedy book. This secretarial signature of John F. Kennedy is something that again can be easily researched by using known references of what secretarials appear to look like. A third-party authenticator, if they're reputable, will maintain a large database of examples of known authentic signatures. And they will compare the question signature to the known examples. Myself, I even maintain a large database of forged examples, which I use in my reference collection and which you're looking at right now. And that's very helpful to me when determining whether something is authentic or not. Here's a book signed by Martin Luther King, purportedly. Where do we go from here? And right on the blank first page, a beautiful signature of Martin Luther King. This book, if authentic, would sell for probably upwards of $6,000 or $7,000. But this signature is secretarial, and I believe it was signed by his wife, Coretta. The way we know this is a secretarial of Martin Luther King is the size. His real signature was quite a bit bigger, and you could compare what are his known real signatures to this and pretty quickly make an analysis. From there, we're going to step out into Great Britain, and we're going to look at this book, The Age of Revolution by Winston Churchill, with a beautiful purported signature of Winston Churchill on the first page. And this is a very skilled forgery. And I will say, be particularly careful with Winston Churchill, as I find him to be among the most forged names in the hobby at present. Secretarial signatures, of which we've gone over a few examples here, are not malicious. But I have a couple of pretty malicious forgeries right here to show you. So here's a particularly heinous and dangerous forgery. This fake Edgar Allen Poe signed book, somebody gave a lot of thought to this and really added quite a bit of color and depth to the forgery, and all kinds of notes throughout to try to fool somebody into believing that it's real, but it's not. And so how do I know this is a forgery? Well, I happen to know it's a forgery, and I happen to know who executed it. It was done by a forger named Joseph Cozy. And in my files, here is a letter, a known forgery of Joseph Cozy, and I was able to compare the handwriting here to the handwriting here and determine that he indeed was the person who perpetrated this forgery. Here's a book that has a very well executed forgery of Charles M. Russell, the great Western artist. The way I know this is a forgery is I have books that are known to be authentic that I can compare this writing to. But if you look at the signature, you could also know that it has, the ink is feathered a little bit. If you came up close to it, you'd see that the ink is feathered, and that happens when ink is applied to old paper. The old paper loses its structure and becomes more porous, and ink will spread a bit, as it has here. Feathering on a book, in almost all cases, there are exceptions, is a good indication that the signature was added non-contemporaneously to the book. This is the job I've chosen, and this is the hobby I love. And to disappoint a person by telling them that they bought a book that doesn't bear an authentic signature is a heartbreaking thing for me. I care about our hobby, and I do my best to try to clean it up from people who are selling things that aren't authentic. But the work needs to be done before, so be careful out there.